Back with the market right here on 80 now. Let's focus on one company which has managed to hit a century, and that's none other than Kansai Nerolac. 100 years of existence. Let's take this forward as the company hits a ton just this month itself. We've got on board with us Mr. H.M. Bharuka, the Vice Chairman and MD at Kansai Nerolac Paints, joining in on the show right now. Mr. Bharuka, good morning. Thanks so much for taking the time out and joining in. 100 years, that must be feeling really great and special.
Good morning to all IT Now viewers as well as to my customers. Yes, it's a very momentous moment for us, completing 100 years. There are very few companies in India, and we feel very proud that we have completed 100 years and survived 100 years. And we were born when there was a Spanish flu, and perhaps when we are completing 100 years, we are having pandemic, and so many more crises which have taken place in last century, and we have survived through that. So that indicates strength of the company, and we feel proud about it.
I sincerely hope that the next pandemic is only in the next 100 years and not any time before that. But tell me, now that you've had a momentous 100 years, very few companies, like you yourself said, manage to survive this long and, more importantly, thrive and reward their shareholders as well. As you look out into the future, given the fact that we are amidst the pandemic right now, in the shorter term, next 3 to 5 years, what's the visibility that you have for the business?
To be very frank with you, if you look at the paint industry, since 91, we are having a double-digit growth. Penetration level is very still low, and per capita income is rising. And I see no reason, as I have been always saying, that next 20 to 25 years, we will still have a double-digit growth. And I don't think there is any problem as far as paint industry is concerned. And if you look at our parameters, whether we look at consumer, we look at demography, we look at industrials, we look at auto, infrastructure, I think everything is, to grow from here. So we are very confident that this industry will do well. And why only next 3 to 5 years, as I say, even next 20 to 25 years, we see a very good prospect for this industry.
Sure. We've seen a good recovery in auto sales in August sequentially. Given your strong salience there, what's the kind of traction you're witnessing, Mr. Bharuka, in terms of the pickup? Has it been better than last year?
I think it is slowly picking up. So there are, of course, two reasons. One was pandemic and the financial crisis which we are seeing. Apart from that, if you look at auto industry, there has been always a cycle. After 3 to 5 years, you see a dip and then you come back. So last 3 to 5 years, I think we have been having a good growth, and coupled with this cycle, as I mentioned, the financial crisis as well as pandemic actually led to this degrowth. In fact, we were actually coming back till this pandemic, hit us. But yes, of late, we are seeing every month, month-on-month improvement. Still, I would say long way to go. Passenger cars, selectively, few companies have done well. Two-wheelers have come back, but again, you would see there are few companies who have done better and few companies still need to come back. So, and commercials, of course, are still in a problem. So given this situation, I would say it will take some time, but we are definitely seeing a positive sign. In fact, pandemic could accelerate if we are able to sort out financial issues, because the social distancing, the public transport, fear of public transport, everyone would like to have their private vehicles. So my personal feeling is we should definitely do well in auto industry, and it's an important core industry for India. India needs to focus on auto industry because it can also become an export hub, not only for auto, but as auto component as well. So I think we are very optimistic on this industry going forward also.
Okay, and given the current demand scenario, do you see positive volume growth continuing for the rest of the fiscal?
Yeah, I think so. In fact, if you look at the first quarter, architectural industry, which had a big, of course, April was a washout, but no one was expecting that, we will come back so fast, so soon. And everyone was predicting perhaps first 3 months and maybe next 3 months we will have a degrowth. But starting May itself, we started having a growth. So that's a very positive sign, despite having, problem or fear of people not painting or painters not being there. Still, I think this industry, or at least we have posted double-digit growth. So that indicates the strong nature of this industry, and we are very confident that architecture certainly will do well. Auto will come back. White goods will also come back. Infrastructure as of now is slightly down, but I'm sure as we sort out this financial issue or the deficit issue, we will come back strongly on this as well.
Could there be a chance where your top line, in a sense, will grow in double digit, but your market share will start shifting to more rural-based categories and less urban-based categories, given that urban economy is under stress and rural economy could make a comeback?
Nikunj, in any case, the penetration level in the rural market for this industry is low. So in any case, we are supposed to do better on the rural market compared to the urban market. And you're right, certainly because of this pandemic, number one. Number two, because rural economy is doing well. And we expect that it should continue to do well. And so the rural demand would always be better than the urban demand going forward. In fact, when we are expecting a double-digit growth, we are counting more on the rural demand than on the urban demand. And urban demand, in any case, if you look at real estate industry right now is in a problem. And perhaps with work from home, people would like to move away from metros to maybe, tier 1 or the outside the metro area. So we definitely expect better growth other than the metro.
Is the Indian paint industry completely Atmanirbhar?
There are two aspects. I mean, if you look at architectural industry, it is actually Atmanirbhar, but there is a major component, titanium dioxide. There is only one manufacturer in India, which is also controlled by government. Unfortunately, despite having a very good raw material source, which we are exporting, we are not having any investment in this industry. And more than, I would say, 2/3 of demand of this item is being imported from outside India. So this becomes a major bottleneck, I would say, when it comes to value of imports. And when it comes to auto, I think there are a lot of specialty products, whether it is pigment or monomers. We do not have those items made in India as of now. So to that extent, I think we are dependent on, I would say, outside India. But certainly, there needs to be some focus from government on this particular item, I would say TiO2. And other than TiO2, on the monomer side, again, it needs a huge investment, and there has to be some encouragement, because we do have certain requirement which can actually take the big capacity. And I'm sure there are people who are looking at it. Like government is focusing on pharma industry, I would say they need to focus on this basic raw material, which not only for paint industry, but even on the plastic and other related items. So I think there's a big opportunity which is awaiting, I would say.
Okay, the last question is, it is from my side, is that what we'll do now is that today you've completed 100 years. Now we don't have the listed data of your last 100 years, but what we have is the listed data of your last 10 years. So I'll pull out the stock graph of the last 10 years, and last 10 years in a sense has been a golden decade for your shareholders and for investors who invested in paint companies, whether it's been Asian Paints or for that matter Kansai Nerolac or Berger. Your margins have expanded, your P multiple has expanded, you have managed to grow in double digit. For next 5 years, 10 years is a long time, next 5 years, what will change? Are you going to be aggressively chasing market share? Would you focus on top line or bottom line? Since you don't need a lot of cash, would you be increasing your dividend outlook? Would you be doing buybacks? How will the next 4-5 years be different for your shareholders?
So Nikunj, I think I answered this question in a different way. As I mentioned, this industry perhaps is a very defensive industry, and not only defensive, it's a growing industry, and that is why you look at the PE multiple, which are ranging from 40 to 60. And as I said, we expect a double-digit growth to continue. And if growth continues, there are of course few players. The entry barriers are very high. So we expect margin also to expand, even though there are global consolidation which will take place. But despite that, all major players are in India, and we expect the current players to continue to expand both on top line as well as on the profitability. Taking that in consideration, I would say, if you look at, let us say even 12% compounded growth, I mean, you can easily say, if there are problems in other industry with 12% compounded growth, perhaps the stock return would be higher than 12%. So I see a golden period ahead for the investors as well as for our shareholders. And coming on the dividend payout, yes, this industry has a positive cash flow, and certainly if there are no further investment opportunities, there is no point in keeping cash because the ROC goes down. At the same time, as I said, because industry is growing, we need to continue to invest, look at the environment and see what best we should do of the cash. But yes, certainly cash can be given back if we don't find much use or we generate higher cash.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us and sharing with us the latest outlook, Mr. Bharuka. Good chatting with you as always.
Thank you.